All right, I'll be in here just a second, just setting up a couple of things here real quick. All right, how is everyone tonight? Or this afternoon, I should say. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone is hanging in there. All right, so today we are just streaming. I'm gonna be inking a panel here. We're just inking this page, whatever. We'll see how far we actually get. But yeah. So what's everyone been up to? Hope everyone's been well, and everyone's maintaining their sanity throughout all this that's been going on. Sometimes you feel like the world is on fire, and you're just trying to figure things out and see where everyone is and how everyone's doing. There's just a lot of that. The Twitter comics landscape is it's a little cray right now, as they say. The kids say. And just trying to make sense of it all, right? But we just got to keep plugging along. Comicsgate is going through a internal upheaval. There's a lot of dissension going on right now. A lot of people that are I guess choosing sides, right? I thought that this whole movement was based on one goal and one goal only, and that was to make good comics. But the cult of personality being what it is, sometimes it's difficult because just in my opinion, if you're going to ask me, it's my opinion, so it's worth about that exactly, not much, but we see that Comicsgate, interestingly enough, when I first started looking at it and that sort of thing, the tenets, I guess, of what I was seeing were cool. All right, customer focus and that sort of thing. But then it quickly devolved and became, I don't want to say devolved, maybe that's probably not the fairest thing to say, but it evolved into something else, and it became more almost like less about the comics and more about the YouTubing and that sort of thing, and certain personalities that commanded a lot of attention, and for good reason, but I think that all the intention was good, and I think what's being lost in a lot of this stuff that's going on is that, family a lot of times has problem with family. They don't all get along the best. But you know what? At the end of the day, you know, um, at the end of the day, they're supposed to still be family. I mean, I got family that uh, some of them have done some stupid stuff, uh, and you just kind of shake your head at it, but they're still family, and that doesn't change. Uh, but somehow the splintering happened in Comicsgate, and it's been a little unfortunate because I mean, I've met fans and creators on all sides of this debate, and I can see, points in their desire come through on every side and of their opinion. But that doesn't mean that if you don't agree with their opinion, doesn't make it any less valid. I guess. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Who knows what I'm trying to say? But yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of little weird there, but so I've been working on my book here, working on a lot of different books. I just had a second chance campaign that I ran for a little bit for people that missed my getting in on my first campaign. That was for my Chango book. It ended. It was realistically, you know, it was more to do with having more eyes on my comics than it was anything else. The book's going to print, so I do want to thank anyone that did, go ahead and get on one of the uh, perk levels there. So I'm thankful for that. The books will be going to print end of this month, uh, and then we'll be fulfilling in May. I mean, not May. Jeez, what am I saying? In July. So so that's good. If you got in on the second chance campaign, you won't be waiting so long. And I do want to apologize for the delay on it because it was not intentional. Uh, we had a couple of hiccups um, with the colorist on the project, and that kind of backed things up a little bit. Um, but that's okay. All the coloring is done on it, and like I said, it'll be going to print. I believe, I think all the lettering is done on it as well. So we're just into the pre-press stuff right now. Make sure that the book looks good, and that sort of thing before we take it to print. So yeah, that is for Chango, the Broken Veil. This is for Gin and Tonic. This is a book that kind of it has a bunch of things that I like to draw, which is martial arts. It's got spy stuff in it. Um, it's got beautiful women in it. you know, little espionage, little, you know, that kind of stuff. Um, is going to be in this book, and uh, I just found the color, not the colors. I just found a letter for the book. So, um, you know, I'm still debating, you know, if I'm going to go uh, with black and white or colors on this. What I think it's going to end up doing, because, you know, the I'm paying for a lot of this out of my own pocket. Uh, and so I want to make sure that uh, the only thing that we got to concern ourselves with once we launch the campaign is that we have uh, just to you know, meet our funding goal, and then we're able to pretty much immediately go to print. You know, I don't want to, you know, one of the things that I learned from the campaign on Chango is that you know, when one member of the team slacks off, it kind of affects everything. And so, unfortunately, um, you know, that being said, uh, I I learned the lesson from that. So, you know, the project will be done. Uh, Essentially, if anything, the only thing that I'm, if I decide to go with full color on it, the thing that will be going on with that is that I'll be looking to you know, raise the money to get it colored and that sort of thing. But you know, outside of that, it'll mostly be done. So you know, the delays won't be as long. So the story concept behind this was you know, written and created by me. I I was fortunate enough to hire on, I guess, or partner up is probably the more accurate phrase. And with my friend Ron Fortier, who is a, you know, he's a professional comics writer and also a pulp writer, pulp fiction writer, who's actually won many awards in the pulp fiction genre. And so when I was putting this story together, I said, man, he would be the perfect person to do this. And I approached him and I said, listen, I have this treatment for this story that I want to do. Wondering if you'd be interested in possibly um, getting involved with me on this project. And, you know, I just want to show you the treatment and see what you think. So he was like, sure, yeah, I'll take a look at it. You know, and I've done some projects for him in the past for some of the work that he's put out through uh, um, his imprint. Um, and, you know, I think it was Airship 27 Productions. So his name is Ron Fortier, Airship 27 Productions. And so, he was game for it. So he took read through it and got back to me and really loved it. He had so many ideas for it, and he said, "Yes, I'd love to get on it." And so, you know, obviously, I was excited about that. And so that being said, you know, he took the work that I did and the the um, the treatment outline, and holy smokes, did he come back with something amazing. So um, he put that together so quickly. Uh, he actually came up with uh, 4 issues in the initial arc of the story. So like what is that? That's got to be about 88 pages or so, 86 pages. And man, they were brilliant. I was so excited to see and read what he had come up with. And so I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. There's a lot of action in this. There's uh, intrigue and that sort of thing in it. And you know, it's always great to get a pro writer involved in what you do. And this guy's got, you know, legit writing chops. Uh, you know, and so that just makes it even more exciting. So yeah, man, I can't wait till you guys get this book. It's gonna be so cool. Uh, so right now, what I'm doing, I'm just kind of blocking in my my spot blacks here. I do it one of two ways. So what I do is I'll either just block it in this way and then backfill it, which is one way I could do it. Another way that I do it is uh, I'll take the selection tool and with the lasso tool, I'll just go ahead and cut that in and then fill it. So nice thing about working with digital is it's fast. Get through these pages fairly quickly. So does anyone have any questions out there? I mean, is there even, how many people do I have you on? It's a weird time, you know, 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. So yeah, I definitely don't have anyone there. What I am going to do though is let me just go ahead and I'm going to pop the link in case you wanted to come on and possibly join me live. I have the wrong lasso tool selected there. There we go. Let's fill that in. Let's fill this in. So for anyone that's wondering, I'm using obviously what everyone uses in the industry, which is Clip Studio Paint. But the brushes that I'm using are actually brushes by Jimmy Reyes, and you can get his set of brushes on his. You can order them right from his channel. Let me see if I can Maybe I'll post a link in the description here on the video, so you guys can check that out for yourself if you're so inclined. So, I've been doing digital on and off uh, for probably about the last 6 years or so. And, I was working on, I still work traditionally because, I do like that feel of pen and paper and all that happy jazz. Um, and mostly I reserve that for commissions or pages where I know it's going to be like, wow, that's going to be a nice page. So I want to, maybe make that available for anyone that may want to purchase it down the line. Actually, when we finally get back to doing shows and stuff like that. So which I am missing quite a bit. I had big plans to you know, uh, start hitting up the Florida comic scene, especially here in Florida, but maybe even get up to Atlanta, you know, and that sort of stuff. But with so many shows being canceled, that those plans have been put on hold for the foreseeable future. So hopefully we can get back to some sense of normalcy um, next year or whenever. Hopefully it comes back even sooner than that. But you know, not holding my breath on it. It comes back when it comes back. You know, but yeah, it's really affecting a lot of people, a lot of ways that people do business, and I know that there's a lot of people that are comics artists and that sort of stuff, and they do their comics, independent comics and stuff like that, but they really do uh, depend on the they really do depend on conventions and you know appearances and stuff like that in order to make their money. So I know that that's been that has to be difficult. Hey, looks like Tank Fair is in the house. What's up, Tank? Just over here drawing. Did you see the link there, buddy? If you want to join in, I don't know if you got any time, but hop on in for sure if you're interested. Now, I don't know if he's gonna come in or not, but if he does, Tank does have a book that he's gonna be uh, putting out soon. So hopefully he'll join us so he can talk a little bit about it. And let me return your hail, El Guapo, with a hearty hail, Tank, as well. I just want to let people know that unlike some people that are calling themselves Caesar, your boy El Guapo is an actual Caesar. So, he pretending over here. Hail. Just put another shot out there. If you've been able to come join the stream. let's get this hand here. Yeah, it looks a little big. We'll fix it though. Just out here in the wastelands of comics creating. But YouTube does at least have the possibility to make it interesting, right? Yeah, that's a little better. That hand was a little bit big before, so that's what I enjoy about digital. It's so easy to make those fixes on the fly, you know, as opposed to how we used to do it, you know, white out this and that, and kind of a pain in the butt. But yeah, it makes it a whole lot easier. I know that when I first started doing digital, it was on my my during my 10 issue maxi series for the Red 10 published by Comics Tribe. And that one, I think I started doing some digital in issue 5 of the Red 10, and then on issue 6 I went primarily digital on that one. And then oh, thanks Tank, thanks for liking and sharing the stream. And so with that, by the time I finished that up and went into issue 7, I was pretty much working digital for everything. The only thing that I changed up that I did a little bit different was for the very last issue. Oh, I didn't know you were. Oh, here, let me invite you all. You know what? I just saw you. That was gabbing away like crazy.
What's up,
There we
brother?
go. All right, I got you. Sorry about that, man. I was
No,
so
you're
busy
good.
running my mouth. But yeah, no, I was just telling people, you know, how I got into doing the digital with about I started on the 5th issue of the Red 10. And by the time I got to issue 6, I had gotten a Wacom at that time
Uh-huh.
and a Cintiq, and then you know I've been doing more or less digital. Except for the last issue, one of the things I was saying is I want to have some actual pages for the final issue in case you know I wanted some. I've sold a few of those from that, but there also I still have a few left as well. So how you been, man? How you been?
Good, man. Good. I just taking a break from the studio, spending some time with the family, getting ready to get back into it tomorrow.
Oh,
So,
awesome. Yeah, man.
yeah.
So how'd that work for you? Feel energized and pumped and ready to go?
I do, man. I do. I'm already missing them. I ain't even left yet, but we packed in 2 birthdays into one.
Nice.
My oldest boy turned 10. My youngest girl turned 3.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and
Congratulations to them. Yeah.
I'm not helping any Irish stereotypes.
Yeah, right. Oh, whatever. You haven't caught up to me yet, I don't think. You got a ways
Well,
to go.
how many you got? I got 6.
9.
Well, okay. Yeah, no, you can keep that lead.
Yeah, I know. All ages
I'm
too.
done. I'm done.
I know. I hear you, brother. I hear you, brother. Yeah, it's all good.
Uh,
The
I
kids, they
love
keep me
I love
young.
kids, man. I love them.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah. So how's your project coming, man?
It's coming along pretty darn good. It's coming along
Yeah.
pretty darn good. The chief editor and I just got done um, doing like with some stretch goal edits, so we could add more story with stretch goals.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, people don't want like tiny floppy. That they want like at least like somewhere in the vicinity of 50 pages. You know,
Yeah.
and I was like, but if this is going to be, it all depends on how much money we raise too, because it's how much money, how much time I'm going to be spending on it. That's how much time I'm not, out there doing my own work, which is
Right.
I do business consultation. I help struggling businesses succeed. That's usually what I do. That's like, and I help startups, right? And I've got clients, man. That's how I make my money. And so it's like, okay, well, I got to take my time off of work in order to get this done. But in order to get this done, and make money off of it, I got to take time off of that work. So I got to move away from the sure thing to the gambit, you
Oof.
know?
Yeah, I hear you. Hey,
And
listen, that's
yeah.
that's a that's a not an easy decision, you know. People think, oh yeah, man, just make your comic. Well, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
sometimes it's not
No.
as easy as that.
And that's what I'm doing. I'm getting it done. It's, the base comic is all broken down. I'm working on all the pencils right now. The inks are going to go into play. I'm still on schedule to have at minimum the ash can ready to read on opening day next Tuesday, not this Tuesday, but the Tuesday after this Tuesday,
Yeah.
June the 16th. So when that site goes live, people are going to be able to be able to read the first 5 pages of the comic. And
Awesome.
that's where the first hook is. I had to like, okay, so what am I going to do here? Like, it's got to have a hook. And this is something like for all comic creators, you got to have a hook in the first 5 pages, because if you don't have it there, you're not going to get them. You know,
Yeah.
ideally, you want like the setup for the hook to be on the first page, right? So when they first open that comic, you want to suck them in. You want to have that. That should be a hook right there. But a bigger hook is a little bit further in. So that's tough.
Yeah,
All the
right?
editing and shit that, pardon my language, all the editing and stuff that went into it, that's going into it. It's it's a lot of hard work. It reminds me, I honestly, I haven't done work this hard since I was doing tile and framing, and they're very similar. That most of the work is done in all the setup, the preparation, the readying of the space and materials, and making sure that your plan is ready to execute. And then when it comes to actually like drawing and inking and lettering the pages and all that stuff, that's the easy work.
Yeah.
That's the easy stuff. The hard part is, okay, the design's got to flow. The word bubbles have to flow. I'm working and I'm doing this while the script's in various stages of development, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's brutal, it's rough, it's hard work, but it's absolutely necessary.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, as they say, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. And my
So
ultimately my goal with this, and I understand, this is my first campaign. It's going to be a small one. First campaigns are small ones,
right.
and that's okay. But the goal is that the second campaign I can just release the rest, um, because this is like a 3-part series, broken it down, 3 parts. I want to get Act One out of the way. Act One, that's where you set up the story, right? This is
So what is so for those that
yeah.
are maybe hearing about this for the first time, what's the name of the book that you
I'm working on a prologue to Retribution, which is it's the prologue to my graphic novel, uh, 2065 Retribution, which is a story of a cyber droid, a cybernetic android that is kind of coming to terms with mortality and the value of its existence, and that leads it down a rabbit hole in this cyberpunk world of deceit and betrayal that no one could see coming.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah, sounds
results
good.
are shocking. They're shocking.
So you had started you had actually started a sign up, right? An email list.
That's correct. Yeah, sign up.
And so how's that going for you?
Really well, actually, a lot better than I expected. I have, I think the last I checked, I had nearly 70 people signed up for that.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
And my goal was to have 50 by the time I launched the campaign.
Oh, that's
So
super.
yeah, it's going better than I expected. And this next week, I'm finishing up talks with a printer here is local in Los Angeles.
Uh-huh.
They're going to be handling the bulk of the goodies. So far, we're just like for the base campaign, we're going to start off with printed goodies, and then as we hit stretch goals, we'll unlock little key fobs and other cool things. A
So
lot of cool
you
things lined up. Yeah,
so I don't know if I knew, did I know that? I mean, you actually live in LA?
yeah, yeah. I live in the Los Angeles area.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to live out there. Well, I mean, I lived in Southern California over in Clemente when I was in the Corps.
Okay.
But oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so you have a local printer that's going to be doing
Yes.
work for you?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm here in Los Angeles, and we have commercial printers. They can, for them, printing a comic book is easy. These guys like that's kind of slumming it for them.
Really?
They're really super high quality. It's not cheap, but when I take into consideration the shipping it would cost for me to go to someone who is cheap, it's a
Yeah.
comparable price. It's a comparable price, and it helps me support a local Los Angeles business. I like
Right,
small
right.
business. I think
Yeah.
it's myself and my company take the stance that small business is the cornerstone to the economy. That is what holds everything
Oh yeah, agreed.
up.
I would
So
have to agree with you on that.
I mean, even Amazon wouldn't exist without the small businesses that it sells the product of.
True.
And that's one of the goals is to get the products up on Amazon, right? Get it into a general market. I love comic stores and stuff like that, but they got to get with the times. The ones that are selling games and toys, they're smart.
Yeah. Well,
They're smart.
that whole dynamic's going to be changing, huh?
Oh yeah, it's well, we seem to be in the midst of a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Not to make
It's
light of
hard to
a
know how that's going to look, you know?
yeah, not to make light of a desperate situation, but yeah, we are in the midst of a paradigm shift. Things are changing, and
Changing
I
everywhere.
think we'll end up better for it.
Yeah.
If cooler heads prevail, we'll end up better for it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And it's funny because, I don't I try not to get uh too deep into, what's been going on with the Comicsgate thing. But, I'm looking at this thing and I actually was commenting earlier how crazy. I mean, just
Yeah,
how far away it is now. Like like everything that it seemed that they were fighting against, like all this the cliquishness and that's what
yeah,
that stuff is so pervasive, okay, that somehow it made its way into the whole philosophy of comics because I still look at it as a philosophy as opposed to group A and group B.
yeah.
And
Right,
so
right.
I see people that are on either side still saying, like, still speaking on the philosophy of what Comicsgate is, but then there's this cult of personality that has gotten in the way,
Yeah.
and I'm just sitting there like, what are you guys doing? It's just so, I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, no, dude. I hear you there. I mean, there was a time before I was fully invested into Comicsgate where I was one of the on the periphery, and I had no project of my own going on at the time, and I absolutely stood in solidarity with Comicsgate, but it's I wasn't actively protesting. You know what I mean? And I was standing with Peter Simeti at the time,
Yeah.
and that's what got me ostracized from most of the other comics. Like it's just crazy, man. And I was like, I was supporting Comicsgate. I was supporting. I was sharing out their stuff. I was, try to have their back. Try to have like a civil discussion with folks because a lot of this stuff was new to me. I don't. I'm one of those guys. I don't spend a whole lot of time on the internet keeping track of the latest outrage. I have better things to do with my time. I've got
Yeah.
6 kids.
Right. Yeah.
You
No,
know,
I hear you, man. It's like,
I get enough of the latest outrage.
and the thing is, that I'm looking at this and listen, I definitely right now am feeling more connection, should I say, with one particular side versus another, as far as, when I look at it and I say, wow, that's messed up, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm kind of like just kind of trying to figure it out because listen, there's one particular side of this argument that eh, I feel that I was personally jacked by, but whatever, you know what I'm saying? I don't hold
Right.
that against uh that person per se, even though, the reasoning that was giving seemed completely bogus to me, and I get it. Listen, I'd rather you, if you're gonna you know say, well, I'm not interested in promoting this person, just come right out and say, because I'd rather deal with that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was in the military, and just be straight up. If you don't
Yeah.
want, I'm fine, just fine. All right, fine. I get it. I respect. At the end of the day, I respect you. That's your opinion. You don't want to, help promote, and I dig it. Listen, I've done everything that I've achieved in my life. With the help of God, I've achieved it on my own. I haven't really needed to have anyone hold my hand. Like a purse puppy, and say, "Well, here you go. Let me give you your, morsel for the day."
Yeah.
I've earned that. Uh, and at the same time, I see uh, how this person has kind of been on one side, then on the other, and it's like, wow, man, just dude, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? That's not what a leader does. You know?
Or even worse, God forbid, some of these people who are so dichromatically split uh, actually see that there's maybe some ration and truth in some of the stuff that both sides are kind of saying, and maybe if they just addressed that stuff like adults, um, and just hashed it out, and were willing to eat a little bit of crow for some of the nasty stuff, just eat some crow, own up, move on.
Yeah.
I know, you don't apologize to SJWs, but at the same time, if you're not willing to accept an apology, then what are you acting like?
Yeah. Clearly, right?
Just saying. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. 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 Yep. All right. Yeah. So, boy Tank had to take care of something real quick. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know who's listening right now, but man, does anyone by all means listen. All opinions are respected here, and if you definitely want to make a comment, by all means, go right ahead. It's all good. Um, but yeah, I think that there's definitely more to be gained in working together than there is to gain in not having uh, not working or working on your own. And I understand that some personalities clash, and people have tribalism and that sort of thing, or you know you're protecting your own, whatever the case may be. uh, but things aren't always as black and white as we think they are, and it'd be good to know exactly where a person stands.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you're
No,
back. Okay.
I'm back. I'm back. Sorry about that.
No, no, it's
There
all.
there was an upset, and I had to go handle
Oh, I appreciate that. Right.
that.
Yeah. So go ahead and finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Where was I? Oh yeah. On how everything is so divided. I mean,
Yeah.
like I can really only use myself as an example. All right. So, I'm not a fan of a certain little section of humor that we got going, but that's just because it's not my humor. But I don't go out and go, oh, this isn't my humor, therefore I hate it.
Mm.
Uh, or there are people who have some genuine upsets, and I see that they take that stuff a little too far, and sometimes they put on a little tinfoil hat, and they get a little crazy
Hmm.
with that. And I know that at that point, there's no communicating with that person. And I know that behind the scenes, that these people, like, I see a lot of these folks fighting and stuff, and I'm like, no, no, don't. That person's actually a good person, man. That person's
Yeah.
actually a good person. Just take a minute to communicate with them. Like, and we have a whole bunch of us. We got emojis and stuff, attached to to our little Twitter handles and whatnot. And they're all fun and games, and they kind of signal to others where we stand, right? Uh, and I, I I won't fault somebody for having an emoji for something that they're a fan of uh, in their Twitter profile. That's, to me, that's just kind of silly. Like, I don't care if they've got the LGBTQ rainbow flag, they've got a Christian cross, they've got a little water closet. I don't care. I don't. I don't. What really matters is, do you like comics? Are you into science fiction? Because I'm like way into science fiction. I'm into like really cool science. Like, I geek out on the fact that 48% of the galaxies spin counterclockwise. That blows my flipping mind.
Uh,
I'm a nerd. I like to exercise and I like to work out, and I like to participate in combat sports. These things are fun to me, and I'm very scientific about it. I even, like, scientifically, I would go out and put that stuff to the test. I used to work as a bouncer just to make sure that all of my people handling abilities, whether through vocal or physical means, worked. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and so that's what we're doing over here at CG. We're seeing that if this stuff really works, do people really want a touch of escapism, a little bit of quality content, and maybe some up and comers too that aren't ready for prime time, but they're trying their hardest, and that's all they want is a fair shake. I see these guys that come out and they barely make their $500,000 goal, and I'm happy for them because they're up and comers. Because in 5-10 years, if they keep all that stuff up and they keep learning and growing, they're going to be rock stars, and they're bringing original ideas that are just absolutely fun. I love Trongo. I flip and love it. What a
Yeah.
great idea.
And it was so different. I think that, people still are not, sure what this thing is. But so what I'm hoping for is like, it was like I had these other things that I could have put out there, but I said, well, let me put this out because I didn't want to be, in a certain sense, I didn't want to be competing with what everyone else is doing, which is, the military stuff, the superhero stuff, the
Right.
sexy babe stuff. This is that story is not that. And so my decision to put that out first was very purposeful. Now, um,
Yeah.
I
Well,
I I kind of did it in a certain sense how Mike Mignola did when he put Hellboy out. I mean, people Hellboy. I mean, a paranormal
right.
demon. I mean, like no, there was nothing like that on the market. Okay, and people found out about it. People saw the books come out, and they were like, "Oh yeah, oh I can get behind. This is kind of interesting, kind of neat," And then, I mean, not saying that I'm going to be the next Mike Mignola, but my point is, sometimes you have to take a risk, and I've taken many risks in my life. Many times I've fallen flat on my face, and other times I've been successful. All right,
Yeah,
but to me, it's all in. Well, you're going to miss every shot you don't take. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
right.
So,
Well,
we'll see what happens. And so what I'm hoping for is that, once the books are out, once people, see what the story is and everything like that, that they're going to be like, oh man, I missed out on this, which that was one of my things with doing the second chance campaign. It was like
right.
to kind of give people a shot that may have missed, the first time around. Uh, and yeah, it's all right. I got some people to sign up, so they're going to be the fortunate ones that are going to get in on it. But it's all good. So you'll just have to wait for when we do the second act of the book, which that's definitely coming. So
See, I
you
like
know,
that. I like that you say, act right there. That to me is a see. I've been an art director. I've been a production designer and the creative director for stuff. So when I hear like somebody go, yeah, there's act one, there's act two, and I'm like, cool. So that indicates to me as the editorial type, the editorial side of me, the unfrosted side of my art self goes, oh, well, that's serious business right there. That's somebody who's actually serious about their storytelling. That's
well,
what it indicates to me. I like that. That gives me faith in the project. I'm a guy who has very little faith in things. I don't have much faith. I'm usually like, show me.
yeah.
Um, I spent 33 years studying martial arts, and I have debunked a whole bunch of bullshito.
Oh, bullshit.
And I'll tell you right now, if it can be found in a strip mall, chances are it's bullshito. It might be bullshito that's case by case workable, but if you're not in that case, it ain't gonna work, and you're gonna get killed. And that is sad. We don't want that. It's not
Yeah.
the point, right? So putting that in comic terms, I see a lot of bullshito. I see a lot of I see a lot of half baked superheroes, and then I see some superheroes that are really cool,
Yeah.
like Skunk Girl, Niobe, and Peregrine.
Yeah.
Like that stuff really, and Geek Girl, dude, that really catches my eyes. I'd like to see some more guys, more male characters that really caught my eyes like that, like like the ones that we have in Black Flag. That's fun. He's got a whole team dynamic going on over there.
Yeah.
We don't get a lot of that these days. It was way overrun in the early mid '90s, the team dynamic, and I'm glad. I'm really glad that Fraga's brought that back and kind of made it a big deal. That makes me very happy. And Door Kickers, love that one. That whole government paranormal investigative, serious business. This is a serious book,
Yeah.
kind of thing. I love that. And what was that alien one? Oh man, I'm trying to remember. Dang it! It's the name of it's escaping me. The Abductables. On the other side of that,
Oh yeah,
on
that
the
was
comedy side.
who was that? Um, is that Ibai Canales did the art on that?
I think he did. I think he did,
Oh,
and
that guy
that's
gets around, huh?
speaking of artists that have come a long way. And I see writers coming along too. I love Jeremy Lott's writing. I love his comics. They're really fun, and
Well, yeah,
watching
no,
him
I
grow
agree.
as a writer is fantastic. Tales from Nerosville was a lot of fun to read, and totally
Really?
took me in a direction I did not know it was going. Um, yeah, no, it's totally worth picking up. Going over to knucklesupperstudios.com and go pick up their books. That's the people who support on Indiegogo made that happen, made that storefront happen, made the ability to reach a broader, more general market easily. They made that happen. That's why they got all the special goodies that will probably never see the light of day. You know, these are it's an investment. It's a collector's investment.
Yeah, and Jeremy is a really good guy, and he's a big supporter of uh, Comicsgate and what the
Yeah,
different creators are bringing to the table. Uh, and
I,
so, yeah, man, that's pretty exciting.
I mean, I could go on about like all the really cool, crazy ideas that are going on in Comicsgate. I could go on for a long time about how original that is. I could even signal over to the hard left and say, look how diverse this pool of creators is. You know, but nobody's trying to get, ahead on their ideology or their skin color or anything that is just it is superficial. They're
Right.
getting by on their merit. And that's what we need. Because otherwise this industry is going to die. We will lose a medium of storytelling.
Yeah, that would be a shame.
Pardon me. I got a little bit of a dry throat.
No, it's all good, man. Yeah, that definitely would be a shame. Uh, comics is. I mean, it's brought a lot of joy to me personally, and I mean,
I
not
had
to
an
sound
offer.
corny or cheesy, but it's helped me out through some tough times, also. You know.
Well, I had an offer to put together a prospectus and get a pilot episode done and for a Scalpel Zero animated series. I was like, yeah, but it's got to start with the book. I could have bypassed and gone straight to animation and gone spend the next 6 months getting this pilot, which I know would be great. I know it would grab people. I know that Netflix would probably option it, you know, but I was like, no. See, I have this story I have to tell in comic form because there's things I can do there that I cannot do on film.
Hmm.
I had an offer to over the years to just get a ghostwriter and work with them on getting a novelized version together. I was like, once again, I got to say no because there are things storytelling that I can get done in the comic medium that I can't do with just simple written word.
Yeah.
You know, that the artwork itself is a part of the storytelling. Um, it's it really is its own special thing, and I think it needs to be preserved because it's despite what Seduction of the Innocent might have said, a terrible book. Highly recommend reading it. Know your enemy kind of deal. Comic books are the gateway to literacy. That got me reading some serious books. I mean, I was just tearing uh, through the writings of Asimov and Clark
Hmm.
and Pohl and Anderson and all McAfee or no sorry McCaffrey and Pierce Anthony and all these just I could go on about authors and how I just pretty much read everything they wrote because I was
So
just
you
tearing up a
were a
book a
Pierce
day.
Anthony fan?
Yeah, I love Sam,
Dude,
dude.
I love that guy. I love this where man, there was a while there where I couldn't read enough of that stuff. Wherever I could find it, man.
I
Wherever I
know.
could find it.
Oh, I know, man. No, he's definitely up there. There was a time I was on an Ari Salvatore kick, and a lot of that's really due to, you know, partially in part to picture books that I would read, but those were mostly nonfiction. Um, it was mostly due to like comics that I was reading because I wanted, more, and I got me into reading some of the books that some of my favorite characters, like Beast from the X-Men, would bring up, and I'd be like, oh, I haven't read that book. I'm gonna go read that book. I want to know what this character's talking about. You know, so
Yeah.
it's it's something that needs to stay. It is a form of communication that we have,
Yeah,
and I think
and so uh I I'm hoping for the day, once things aren't as nuts as they are right now,
yeah,
when uh when comics in the United States has that same holds that same status as it does in, say, Europe, like especially in France, and in Spain, where graphic novels, or as they call them, albums over there, people, they look forward to, well, what is my favorite writer, artist, team, or writer or artist coming out with, and they put these books out maybe once, at the most twice per year. People want it, and it's like they can't
hmm
get enough of it, and they respect it and they look at it as a legitimate, art form, and they, there's that expectancy that builds up in between projects. Um, and so, right now, and I think that's possibly shifting, and I don't know if and it seems like perhaps the crowdfunding is kind of going to be the evolution of that here in the United States. um, but we'll see. The industry is changing. You got DC, saying goodbye to Diamond, um, and we still don't know what the effects of that's going to be. You know, um, so yeah, there's a lot of things that still need to shake out. Our country is in a little bit of a hot mess right now. We gotta kind of get that squared away as well. But I think even though things are a little nuts right now, uh, people are still interested in comics, man. Believe it or not. There's still
yeah.
it's still
Well,
something
hey,
that.
while the rest of the industry is in a free fall, Comicsgate and its adjacents, and I know there's some hardliners in CG that go, oh, CG adjacent, pick a side, stop fence sitting. It's like, dude, let them do what they're doing. All right. You're not going to win any friends like that. CG and its adjacents, the people who adhere to the CG principles but don't, pick up a banner and wave it around and virtue signal, um, those are the people who are actually making more money. like everyone else isn't a free fall. They're whining about, how their books aren't selling and stuff like that. And it's like, well, quality's gonna win the day, man. You know, um, when you get, fun kids books uh like Pillow Man and Blanket Boy and Wart the Wizard and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And people can say what they want about Mandy. She's a nice person, dude. She is a genuinely nice person. And two, she knew that she wasn't marketing to the kids to invest in a crowdfunding. She's talking to mom and dad.
Hmm.
And I thought that her campaign tactics are quite savvy. It's brilliant marketing. Brilliant marketing. Hats off, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
she's definitely has her own style,
She does, and
and
you
she
know what? It
knows.
works. And she's a mover and shaker in Comicsgate. She gets books. She helps get books funded. She's got, people say, pick up an oar. Well, she's got a whole galley rowing,
Yeah.
and she's beating the drum. And that's ultimately where you want to be as a creator. You want to motivate your fans and get them inspired. And I see, we got, John Malin and Ethan Van Sciver and stuff like that. They're doing it too.
Yeah.
And Adam Post, man, Rob, what's his name? Replicator Rob
Yep.
and Clayton Barton, the Barton brothers. Uh, they're doing it. They're activating these platforms they have for for a greater good, for a growing of something. you know, uh,
Yeah.
Dan Fraga, man, he's going around and he's making the rounds. He gets around. He helps build your channel by bringing his fans over to see if, hey, if there's this content you're interested in, and that's all we can really do
Yeah.
is say, hey, is this content you're interested in? Show you a book, maybe crack some jokes, maybe comment on some of the stuff that's going on, which I would hear in a little bit. I would love to change the subject to DC and distribution, because there's a rabbit hole there, my friend. DC leaving what do you call it? Leaving Diamond is interesting. It's very
Yeah.
interesting.
Still don't know how that's gonna.
Oh, they have distribution infrastructure available to them. DC does, by their parent company, Warner Brothers Entertainment. Time
Oh,
Warner, owns Warner Brothers Entertainment. Warner Brothers Entertainment owns Warner Distribution.
so yeah, so that's interesting. So they there was the launch of HBO Now,
Uh-huh.
right? And then there's been all the talk that HBO is going to be um, doing a lot of DC characters on there. I think one of the
Uh-huh.
things they were talking about is a Green Lantern series on there, uh,
Oh yeah, I've
which
heard some cool things.
yeah, it sounds really cool. I mean, it's like I don't want to rehash that awful thing from a few years ago, but like
No,
the potential for the Green Lantern Corps is really awesome. I mean, there's a
yeah,
lot there. I mean, when they came out with that movie, I was really expecting this kind of like Star Wars esque kind of really galactic story. You know,
yeah,
yeah, anything but that.
yeah. No, you got to start at home.
Yeah,
It's kind of like, it's harder to get people into a character if the protagonist isn't human.
yeah.
You know, or as Risey likes to say, Earth first.
Well, which is fine. I mean,
Yeah,
and they had the perfect avenue with, Hal Jordan, but
yeah,
man, uh, they missed a lot of opportunities there.
they did. That they tried. It almost seemed to me like they tried to knock out a trilogy in a movie.
Yeah, you gotta let it breathe, man. You gotta put together as good a story as you possibly can. Your first shot, even if you don't get everything that you want in there, if it's good enough, the fans are gonna say, "Oh well, when's the next one coming?" You know.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know, man. But anyway,
Exactly.
I mean, I like movies, and I like watching movies, and they kind of help me to do what I like to do with drawing and that sort of thing, and coming up with stories and stuff like that. Um, so in a certain sense, to me, a successful movie industry where they're putting out good products. It's all part of the whole entertainment sphere and all its different divisions. Oh man, look at all these people that are popping in. We got Mark
Sweet.
Goldfine, who's gonna be. Oh well, Mark's in the back, so I'm gonna add Mark to the stream here real quick. Looks like he's drawing right now. Hey Mark.
Hey, dude.
Oh, where's Tank?
Oh, where'd Tank go?
Tank, come back. We lost you. I don't know what happened. I don't think I clicked you off. I just clicked him on. I got plenty of room.
Yeah.
Looks like we got Sarah the colors here. Awesome. We have Reggie Blanco. What's up, Reggie? And yes, Sarah, I did draw this as well. We need Tank back, man.
Yeah.
We were having a good conversation there. I don't know what
I
happened.
did a little post in the Discord channel to let them know where your channel was.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I know I did a quick. Oh, there's Tank. let me get him back in the street.
Hey, Tank.
Hey, was that on my side, or did you have a little technical difficulty?
I was about to say, I'm not that fat. I didn't push him out of the channel.
Oh man.
Oh, I probably boomered something up on my end.
I know, right here.
Welcome to the club.
I thought I had done it. I'm over here clicking all these buttons. Like, oh man, did I knock him out? But
I am Gen X. I'm the combination of two boomers. So.
Oh,
hey, thanks, Sarah. I appreciate that. At some point, Sarah, you and I need to talk about things. But I saw that nice coloring job you did on Mark's. She marked one of she colored one of your pencil drawings.
Yeah, she did my Mother Night fan art.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, I saw that. That was awesome.
Yeah, you know what? I loved it. I mean, I just made it pop. My only regret was I wish I hadn't drawn it and done the pencils because I was going to ink it. Because I didn't expect the sort of reception it was going to get.
Yeah.
And so I when Jimmy said he was gonna ink it, I was like, the hell, and wow, you kidding me? Yeah. And then Sarah's gonna paint on it, and I'm like, what? So now I wish I'd done it more traditionally, to do her colors justice. Yeah.
I really like that we're starting to get a more cadre of specialists up in the mix here, in comics, especially indie comics. Like, we see it. We often forget the value of a good skilled inker. Every time I ink, I'm painfully reminded of what a good inker really looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I can look at Caesar's work here, and I'm going, how does he do that? Is he using the Kolinsky brush? What is he? Is it Croquill? I don't know, because I'm not an inker. I spend so much time I'm learning to ink as I'm going along with my own comic here, and I gotta tell you, the amount of time I spend inking one panel, I'm pretty sure that Caesar could do 4 or 5 pages.
No doubt.
It's all good. Well, I mean, I actually started off as an inker, only because even though I drew, I could draw okay. I just didn't think that I was ready to draw comics, because it's a whole. Drawing comics is really its own thing, the storytelling, the language of comics. It's all just a little bit kind of scary at times. Especially when I first was doing it. So I said, well, I mean, I can control tools, inking tools and that sort of thing. So I used to ink with like a pen, uh, or marker, thin
Yeah.
markers, and then I graduated to learning how to use a crow quill, and then I got involved in a fine art studio where the guy used to do a lot of uh, female fantasy art, and he used a brush primarily, so he taught me how to use a brush.
Oh,
So,
sweet.
I've been fortunate to had some good experience in learning how to use all the different tools, and now I work primarily digital, just only because it just is it's a lot quicker for me, and then with the tools are getting better every day, and it makes it look more like the actual tools that I'm used to using
Yeah.
traditionally. So it's fun, especially when you make a mistake and all you got to do is hit undo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah.
it is. I call it de-stressing, because if you sit down and you got your pencils, you haven't done a scan and printed out a blue line of it, and you're just going to ink it. You get that shaky hand. I don't know what I'm doing here, and then you screw it up, and that's done. You have to draw it all over again. But yeah, so inking digitally, stress free.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? Like I've inked people's pieces, and I've done my own inked pieces where for commissions and stuff like that, and I like that part too because it takes my attention and it's so laser focused. Like I couldn't ink traditionally and then have a conversation, okay, like I'm having now. I've tried it. It's not good. Okay. I can't use the tools that I want to. Like if I used to do I used to do these draw streams with the drawn and quartered uh,
Yeah.
stuff, and
Yeah, yeah.
I used to do it. Try to do it like that, but I was always so scared that I would ruin the piece because um, you really need to focus hard, especially when you want to get that line right. But there's something to me about that I do enjoy, even though it's a longer process to get to the finished piece, because I have to focus so much more. Every decision that I make uh, is important, and it's almost like I'm forcing myself to make the perfect decision in the first shot. You
Mm.
know, uh,
Yeah.
and it's almost like like you're forcing yourself to be in that zone the whole time. Whether at the end of the at the end of the job when you're complete, actually accomplish that. But I don't know. But like there's pros and cons to both. So I guess that's all
Yeah.
I'm saying. But yes, to your point, Mark, it is very stress free. To
Yeah.
ink digitally. Yeah, I see Johnny Cage has joined us. Hey, what's up, Johnny? I'm gonna put the link here in the stream if anyone has a webcam and they want to just pop in for a few, and if you got so we can see what you're working on. Hey, Tank. So you're just talking, right? You're not working on anything right now. You don't have a camera set up. Tank, do we lose him again?
I'm wondering if he tanked.
Uh-oh, can you hear me?
Now we can.
Oh yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, now I know how to mute the mic. I just did a different app on my phone.
So I was just
Yeah,
asking.
no, I'm out of the studio. So yeah, no, what I have right now is a bunch of notebooks, and I ain't showing that to nobody because I know they're full of spoilers.
Ooh,
Yeah,
interest peaked.
yeah, no, that's Act 2 and Act 3 of Prologue to Retribution, the end of Act 1. The ending has been redone to extend the book. So
Oh,
Nice.
yeah. So we're kind of last minute since launching on the 16th. I know it's kind of last minute to be finishing up some of the scripts and stuff for the end of the book, but I'm drawing the book from beginning to end, page by page. So,
Hmm.
we still got time. The book is planned to be finished within 45 days of the campaign being launched. Full transparency, so people can actually come over to my channel and come watch me work on it and get a nice status update. If you're part of my mailing list, then you'll get the status update even earlier, and of course backers will get it as well.
So,
The
Tank, how
mailing
can
list
they get
people
on
get
your
it.
mailing list?
I have they can go to Indiegogo and look for Prologue to Retribution with this nice smiling Scalpel Zero. Although I couldn't find the one on my phone to use as an avatar, the Willie Reed head cover, because Willie Reed is going to be the primary colorist for the book. I'm probably going to get a couple other colorists in on there for the trading cards. And people sign up and get it on the mailing list, they're eligible for the Manny Correa, the creator, writer, artist for The Unbreathable Skunk Girl, for his trading card.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and we got a Vic King trading card that's going to be going out with all physical backers as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, and putting up bios, like old school bios, in the back of the book.
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah,
there's a little
it's
more
good
fun.
stuff. I'm
And
putting the link right here in the comments for anyone that's on here that wants to check that out.
thank you, brother. I
Go ahead and
appreciate that.
sign up for the mailing list. Uh, you know, Tank he's a consummate pro. And he knows what he's doing. So by all means, he's a big supporter of what we're doing here as creators, and definitely support his project and sign up for the mailing list so you don't miss out on any info with the campaign.
Yeah, because only people that sign up, employees that worked on the project, will get that Manny Correa trading card. Yeah, because and then any extras, any overprint, because you got to overprint. That stuff's gonna be set aflame, and that'll be it. That'll be the only version of that card ever obtainable. So you're gonna want to get your hands on that, I guarantee. Man, he's awesome.
I know I'm getting mine.
Signing up now.
And I'm working on keeping the price point low. I haven't thrown out any dollar amounts or anything like that for just like, you just want a book. Well, you're not getting just a book. You're going to get at least one trading card. If you sign up, you get at least two trading cards. I've got bookmarks. I've got mini posters. We're going to have a lot of fun over here. We got t-shirts and other goodies. And the thing that's taken me the longest on setting up this DM campaign is putting the what ifs in the reward levels, like at stretch goal, this stretch goal, that stretch goal, to see, so that people can see that there's a plan of action ahead of time, and that when hitting certain stretch goals, certain reward tiers will get things automatically included. And you will, that's to reflect that as I raise more money, I get better purchasing power. As I get better purchasing power, my price point is lower, and I pass that savings on to you, the investor. I'm trying to build a business here, and I want people to see that it's worthwhile, and that this is something that's got a broader vision. As Julius Schwartz used to tell me when I was a kid, he used to, I used to, show him, Uncle Julie, look at all these billions of superheroes I made. Look at all these stories I have. And he would go, so where do you see this, and he would point at the work. He goes, where do you see it here? And he would point around like a convention hall or something like that, or if we were out on the street or something, like he'd just point out into the world. He goes, where do you see it? He goes, because I see Superman on T-shirts and on lunchboxes and on party plates and hats and banners. They're everywhere. Where do you see your IP? What's your broader vision? Are you just going to have it be a bunch of stories, or are you going to get out there and make it a part of everybody's everyday experience?
Yeah, household name, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some people say that's selling out. It's like, no, selling out is when you sell your IP to a larger company and let them do that. When you do that, you're changing the game.
Right.
DC in the late 40s, early 50s gobbled up all the failing comic book companies because Seduction of the Innocent, McCarthyism, and the Red Scare and all this other stuff was killing comics. It was adults were shamed for reading comics, even though, let's be honest, man, most for a lot of Americans, I can speak to that. A lot of Americans, comics are comics and young adult are about as heavy duty reading as they can get into. I'm not insulting anybody. That's just where our average literacy stands. So you got to get good stories into people. You got to get them, thinking. You open up the dialogue, like Niobe #2, dude. Like #1 opened up a dialogue. #2 opens that dialogue up with the jaws of life. And he's not taking a side. He's not being political or anything of the sort. He's just really using good storytelling to get us to actually start talking about it. People will be able to read a situation in one of these books many different ways, and they'll argue in the face till they're blue that that no, he meant to say this, no, he meant to say that. And that right there, folks, that's quality. That's quality right there. You're getting entertained and you're getting a little bit of a mind F.
Exactly. Oh, that's great. That's awesome, man. It's always good to, it's great to have a plan, and I hear this stuff and, like I'm listening to you talk, I'm like, you're making me think about, well, how am I gonna, what am I doing with my project? What am I, what are my goals with it?
Yeah.
So that stuff is always fantastic to hear, and then you may even make some changes, to what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've worked on projects where I've oh, look, Comic Book Bob is here. What's up, Comic Book Bob?
Hey, Comic Book Bob.
Hey, Comic Book Bob.
Yeah, that guy works all the time, so he's probably working right now for all we know. That guy's a hard-working dude.
You working and drawing, or are you at home procrastinating, Bob?
See, you got to get back to work. I'm saying the guy's always working like an animal, man. He's a beast. But yeah, man. So I've actually changed things like titles and stuff like that if I felt something wasn't working. But yeah, it's always good to get that input, man. So like Tank, you sharing this stuff like that, that's really, it's inspirational to me because it really gets my brain clicking,
Well, you got Ethan doesn't focus on it so much on his channel so much these days, but back before he was wrongfully ousted out of mainstream comics. Of course, I'm speaking of EVS, the Advanced Geiger. I was a huge fan of his channel because Comic Artist Pro Secrets was exactly that. It was secrets of the industry. Adam Post does that stuff. Clayton Barton does that stuff. I see these guys. These are the tip of the spear. They're not the spearhead. We're the rest of the molecules that make up that spearhead, but they are the pointy bit that poked through the flesh of the enemy.
Is that you?
And the more spears we can get, You know, that the greater an offense into, you know, salvaging what is left of what is left of this industry, because it's post-apocalyptic. People say it's dying. I'm like, nah, man, the nukes happened. The nukes dropped in 97. The first of the nukes dropped in 97 when the collector's market started bottoming out.
Yeah.
And you know, then there was, it's almost like, you know, like the timeline of Appleseed, and then after that there was a conventional war of corporates trying to remake everything and rebooting everything and bringing in these kids that they thought would and bringing back the old professionals that they thought would save the industry. And then there was another conventional war, only this one was fought over idealistic politics and other such nonsense, you know. And now, you know, we're in the post-apocalyptic realm where we have these city states that are mocked up, and Comicsgate is the city state, and you know, the adjacents are these camps that and trading bazaars that are flourishing on our outposts. And you know, all these roads connect to each other, all this stuff. And when one city rots off in the distance, you know, Marvel Comics, and starts to decay, that they stopped putting people in the jobs where they would do best, but they put whom they thought would be good there. We watched as that infrastructure collapses. A great and ancient city like DC Comics, you know, with its Parthenon-esque Greek columns of with greats, with 7 great legends, you know, etched upon them, and the ruined facade, saying that once said the Hall of Justice lays broken at the foot of the stairs. You know, it's up to us. It's up to people like us to do that.
Absolutely. No, that's all. That's inspiring stuff. What I didn't mean, what I failed to tell the people that are on the broadcast today is that I was going to bring in one of the great orators of our day, waxing poetically about this. But you know what? A lot of that is so true. You know, it's just really, you know, what are we going to do with what we have, with, you know, the thing that we love? Because I think that, you know, as long as people love comics and the medium of comics, it's never truly going to die. It just needs to change. And are we willing to you know, see the change through, you know, to what it's going to be? And then, you know, when it does change, you know, support it. Because, you know, all change is not bad, all change is not good, but, you know, change that has a reasoning behind it usually gives you a decent outcome, you know, especially now. And it's interesting that you said that the industry has been dying since the 90s, because that is so real and so true. You know, it's almost been like on life support. And you can see every you know, 5 years or 10 years since then, how the industry has kind of dwindled down to the point where, you know, you have a Batman book that's selling 140,000 comics per month, and you're like, wow, man, look at that, man, Batman's selling 140,000 comics. Yeah, but there was a point where Batman was selling, you know, 800,000 to 1,000,000 per month.
Well, if we look at how many issues are in circulation for what is, you know, say like the top 10 comics, right? And we can go back in time, and back in the mid 80s, when Fantastic Four was the #1 selling comic, you know, they're pushing, was one of those top 5, you know, they were pushing 400,000 issues. Batman was pushing, you know, Superman's pushing 250, 350,000 respectively. You know, and then you could take the top 500 comics now, and I'm just pulling this out of nowhere, but I'm just purely hypothesizing here, but you could probably fit all those publications into the top, say, 25 comics these days.
Yeah.
You know, like or back then, you know, you could take like top 500 now and take it back to like between say 85, 95, and yeah, at any point you could squeeze all of the top 500 into the top 25 of that. And that's a state of the industry. You know, the big companies are saying, hey, we're turning a profit, but our circulation numbers are really, really low. And hardcore investors, you know, the guys who down on Wall Street and stuff, they're actually putting their money into investing in this stuff. They look around and they go, well, you know, this isn't viable. They look at the big two and look at their circulation numbers. They go, well, this can't be viable if this is what is most popular out there. And it's that because of the McCarthyism, because of the Red Scare, superheroes basically dominated comics for the greater part of 50 years. Mm. And people that just came to think of, you know, comics being synonymous with superheroes. And I have nothing against a good superhero comic at all. Loved Tales from Narrow's Mill from Knuckles Software Studios. Loved them. That was great. That was a good, fun superhero comic. Niobe, good, fun superhero comic. Skunk Girl, good, fun superhero comic. These are good. But I also love, like, you know, Ravage, Kill All Men, Legends of Lone Wolf, you know, Man versus Rock, Harlan Buck Free Sword. These are more likely to grab my attention. You know, the Ballad of Dusty Tortillas, that really grabbed my attention. A comedy Western.
Yeah.
You know, I love the fact that, you know, Chongo, the supernatural thriller. You know, we get into Replicator, good science fiction like this. This looked good. I'm a little jealous of the character designs. It was getting me to up my game.
It's got me very interested in Clayton's project as well, Renegade Alpha.
Yeah, no, I love this.
Cyberpunk. So cool. I mean, it's that feeling I got from comic books back in, okay, I'm an old person, back in the 80s, you know, early 90s. I mean, it brings back that, oh, wow, to comic books, which I felt has been missing for so long now.
Yeah. You know? Well, you know, I used to read a lot of indie stuff back in the day. And like Pirate Corps is actually my favorite comic of all time. From Slave Labor Graphics. Yeah. It's all about punk and ska and, you know, living the low life in a high-tech world. And Strummer's Mega Market, which has 20 million square miles of nonstop shopping madness. Just hope the map on your cart isn't busted. You know, there's all sorts of there's so much fun stuff out there. I mean, Six Gun Gorilla.
Right. As fans, right, when we watch a movie, you know, we have certain types of movie that we like one genre more than another. But, you know, we tend to watch all different types, and we want all different types.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're accepting of that. And somehow in comics, it's like, it's always, you know, like you said, it's been so much one thing that to get in there and introduce something new is kind of like, it's difficult, you know, to get people to get behind it, you know. But once they do, you know, you get great fans, you know, and you can, an artist, writer, or creator of comics, you know, they can make a living off of that. You know, you got Dave Sim from you know, that art book. I mean, Cerebus. He did that. You know, I think at one point was the longest running continuous series of all time, and that was a black and white book. And he had his steady fans, and, you know, he made a living doing that. You know, that's just what he did, and he did it for years and years and years. So, you know, who would have thought that someone would be into that? You know, but there were enough people that supported it, which is the interesting thing about now. You know, people, you know, doing crowdfunding and stuff like that. You're building your audience. You're getting people, you know, with the social media and everything. People can get to know you. You know, we do streams here, so. Other creators, and then, you know, people that just like comics can get in. They can engage with you know, creators, and, you know, they can watch, you know, creators work, you know, live, you know, while they chit chat with them, and it kind of gives them, you know, that like into like, oh wow, I'm kind of that feeling like, you know, they're involved in the process
Definitely.
of it, you know. And then when they see the product, oh yeah, I remember when he was doing that, and
Yeah.
or she, you know, I remember when she was talking about, you know, coloring that page and that sort of thing. And so, you know, we really have a good opportunity now. You know, I don't know if you saw this, any of you saw this recently, but there were actually comic pros that were posting their page rates on Twitter.
No.
And I'm looking at that and I'm like, wow, dude, so you were getting paid that. On some of them, I was thinking, wow, I thought you were getting more, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, wow. And so, and yet you were just basically paid work for hire. You got that page rate. So if they said that you're off the book, you're not making that money. And then if they decide they're gonna cancel the book, you're not making that money because maybe you not might not be an artist, a preferred artist that they would like to see on another series. So
Yeah.
your career could be over, you know, before it really gets started. And so what crowdfunding and what creating your own platform, getting your own fans allows you to do is you're going to draw anyway, so you might as well draw your own stuff. You own it, it's yours. The only time that you don't uh, make a living off of it is if you just don't do the work, right?
Yeah.
But if someone wants to approach you about, you know, printing a limited edition something, whatever, you don't have to go through different hoops. And I think this is kind of like what you were talking about earlier, Tank, about, you know, t-shirts and cartoons or whatever, movies, novels, whatever, you know, all that stuff can be a part of it, but you own all of it. You don't have to, you know,
Yeah.
in essence, work for a page rate, you know. uh, you can make your own deals and that sort of thing, and then that's where I think you'll probably end up finding a lot more fulfillment.
Yeah. Well, look at EVS, man. Like he's expanding into action figures right now. Like
Yeah.
he's looking at a viable action figure market, and I hear him talking, you know, because he's a parent and he understands how much parents spend on their kids' toys. And so that gives him an advantage. You know, as an entrepreneur, that gives him a direct market survey of both the key consumer and the customer. You know, the customer is the parent, the consumer is the kid. And I think that he's onto something good. I think he's going to be selling Cyber Frog action kits, and that's going to get optioned for a Cyber Frog kids show, and kids can enjoy that. And you know, and then he can have his fluffy verse. You know, kind of like the difference between the Ninja Turtles cartoon and the Ninja Turtles comic.
Mm.
Like the OG comic was that was not for children.
No.
No part of that was for kids. The Adventures of TMNT with Lawson as the artist, like that was teenagers at the youngest, as far as the kind of the language they had in there and whatnot for the time. Um, you know, so you have to be willing uh, to branch it out. Like, could I make Scalpel Zero for kids? Absolutely. I could totally have like a kids show
Hmm.
with Scalpel Zero. It would be, and still keep it pure to the original, right? It just wouldn't be so. I mean, it could still be dark, but it just wouldn't have all the heavy duty adult content that the book has.
There you go.
Starting with the language. No, I drop an F-bomb on the first page of every book. And I do that on purpose as a writer and editor. I do that to signify, yeah, you don't have to look any further. This book is not for kids.
So hey Mark, I see that you're working there. Can you
Yeah.
want to share your screen at all, or
Oh, sure. I can do that. Let me see.
your screen share? I'll pop
Sweet.
you on for a little bit so people can
Yeah.
see you what you're working on.
This is me trying to work out inks. at the moment. So, yeah, working on the first page of my own comic.
All right, is this that same story you were working on
Yeah.
the other day? Okay.
Yeah, that was page 3. This is page 1. So, but this panel isn't aligned yet. It's a loose panel.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't have an 11 by 17 scanner, so I have to find other ways to get it to work. And in my case, it was take a picture with my phone because it's going to be inked anyway, and then just stick it into Clip Studio, put in the panels where they're supposed to be, and then work it. So right now I'm trying to figure out how to ink and doing my best to emulate that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I mean, you're definitely inking as an inker. Just think of it as a guy that's done a lot of inking work and some pro work inking as well. You're definitely inking there. It's just a different technique.
Yeah.
To me, I look at that. That's like, to me, that inking style is like what you would see in a, fine artist, how they would ink, using these kind of strokes. But I love it, man. I really like all this. It's different because you don't see this kind of inking in a comic. And
no, not in a traditional comic.
Yeah. So I've been noticing a lot of is Tank muted? Did I mute him?
He's muted. I don't know if he muted.
Oh yeah, no, I had muted.
Oh, you muted. Okay.
I had a coughing fit.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry about that. So yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of this, and I think we were talking about this the other day on Jimmy Reyes' channel. A lot of people are doing the fantasy comics, or at least that genre. And I don't know how you feel about this, Tank, but I remember there was that period there in the 80s going to the early 90s where a lot of people were doing fantasy stuff, and I thought that it was gonna kind of like just take off, because everyone was a fan of Frazetta and like kind of like that sort of stuff with Conan, and you had Beastmaster and all that stuff. Like, some people say that's corny, but man, I love that stuff. I thought it was pretty cool. And I always thought I would see more comics like that. So I never really got to see it. There were some items that came out, kind of like that, but not really anything that's like super memorable,
No, it's sad, really. I mean, what got me wanting to do comics in the first place, or even to actually take drawing seriously, was when my parents brought home a Savage Sword of Conan for me back in 1985. Right, I was 9 years old, and I saw that, and it just blew me away. So that's my influence. That's my that's what I want to do. But trying to be Buscema or Alcala or Rudy Nebre and do that kind of work, it's beyond me at this point. But I'm working on it.
Yeah,
it's just a style. I don't see anything like that anymore. And unless you're buying these trade paperbacks and omnibus editions and stuff, you're not going to find that anymore. They've even taken Conan and Red Sonja, and they've pulled that stuff into our time, and it's drawn and inked like you would see in a superhero comic. It just doesn't click right for me for some reason. I miss that old stuff. Yeah, Beastmaster was good. Beastmaster was fun. I loved that. I loved that movie when I was a kid.
What were the ferrets?
Yeah, Kodo and Podo.
Tank Ferret, and he probably liked Beastmaster too. He's probably a big fan. His namesake.
Oh yeah. Oh man, no, those were my two favorite characters in the whole movie, Kodo and Podo.
You were great. Yeah, but that's great. Listen, you know what? So it's exciting to see all these different genres, because if you're gonna do Comicsgate, if you're gonna create a new comics industry, I think that it's important to give people choices, different things that you know, just like, and as I was mentioning earlier, just like movies, you know, just there's lots of different choices out there. You know, I've seen, you know, your regular pop style movies, you know, your action comedies, and I've seen some, you know, art house films that, you know, I've enjoyed, and
Yeah.
art house films that kind of left me scratching my head, like, what did I just watch there, you know? But but nonetheless, you know, you got to give people those options to choose from. And I really just believe so much in that.
Yeah.
Sarah says she loved the ferrets. She's a big fan of the ferrets. Everyone loves the ferrets. No one remembers Mark Singer. Poor Mark Singer.
Oh yeah.
He was overshadowed by the ferrets.
Upstaged by the Lancers. That's some good storytelling.
Very few people remember it was Rip Torn who played the main villain in that
Yeah.
for some reason. You know, Rip Torn with an added nose. You know. Don Coscarelli, I liked his movie. He had a lot of fun stories that he did. But you know, I think it's weird we haven't seen more of his stuff. To be honest, Beastmaster was fun. I was not such a big fan of the follow-ups, but
Yeah, no. Dude, what was wasn't there a movie that came out around that time? It was a couple of these twin brothers that were like bodybuilders.
Oh
or something.
yeah, the Barbarian Brothers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, maybe that's why it didn't take fantasy didn't take off.
That
Like,
was canon. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I have to be running.
Oh.
Thank you very much for having me on.
All right, thanks, Dang. I appreciate you popping on here and you know,
We
shooting
had a lot
us
of fun.
with some of your wisdom. So, guys and gals, if you haven't signed up for the mailing list, please go ahead and do that so you can get in on that awesome trading card that's being done by Manny Contreras. He's a great artist. He's actually a fine artist that
Yeah.
has done comics work. And you know, if he's doing a card for Tank, then I'm just gonna tell you, it's gonna be nice. You know, is it a painted card that he's doing?
I don't know yet. He's being kind of secret about it, which means that he's cooking up something good.
His paintings are beautiful. He does a fantastic job.
So
But
yeah,
I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it's a painted trading card.
Me too. And you know, what's funny is that some of the concepts that he threw out, and I was like, hey, well, you know, I like this one because of that, and I like that one because of this, and he goes, yeah, they're boring. So I'm like, oh, I get a little excited. I'm like, well, if that's boring, I like to see what is exciting.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Have a good one, gentlemen.
Well, hey, thanks for hopping on, and you know, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
All right, so it's a Mark and El Guapo show right now. So you know, like I said earlier, if anyone wants to, if they have a webcam and they want to, you know, stream for a little bit with us, you know, by all means, you know, go ahead and do that. Let me see if I can get that link again. Someone here, you get the link.
Oh yeah, I can't link anything. There you go. Now, how long have you been in the industry, Caesar?
Well, I mean, since 1991. So
Wow.
I started off. Yeah, I've been doing comic show. I did a lot of underground comics. You know, a lot of horror stuff like that. So basically, I cut my teeth doing horror books, and I did. I worked for this company initially. My first comics work was this company called One Shot Press, and he had a character called the Captain Jolting, and he was this like skull character, kind of like a crypt keeper type of character. And I did some work for him. I did a few issues of stuff with him, and did a lot of illustration pieces and spot work here and there from backups. Um, did work for Blue Water, Masterpiece Comics, where that was like a vampire werewolf love story type of thing. That was kind of interesting for Masterpiece. And that was 4 issues. And then I did Ripperman, which was a supernatural thriller. I did that for Red Anvil Comics. Actually took over for artists that kind of bailed on the gentleman, and so I ended up finishing the first half of the graphic novel, and then finished the second half. Was all me. So did that. Then after I did that, I illustrated the biography of Justice Sonia Sotomayor, and then I met my co-creator writer on the Red Tent at a comic convention. We got around to talking and stuff like that. Hey, I like your stuff, and I got some ideas for some books I want to put out. So he sent me 3 ideas, and actually, let me backtrack on that a little bit. So I met him, and he said, "Yeah, I'll shoot you some, maybe sometime." So a few weeks went by, and I was just finishing up a project, so I posted it up on Facebook that, hey, I'm completely free of any obligations for any comics work. Is there anyone interested out there that maybe have some stories they want to tell? So he ends up getting back to me. He says, "Hey, I've got these 3 ideas. What do you think?" And the first one that really, man, I love the textures on that tree, dude. Oh my gosh.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Jimmy. I've just been playing around with the different brushes, and
Yeah, no, I like that. That looks really neat.
it
It almost
works.
looks like a giant sycamore.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I gravitated to this one idea that he had. It was a teen book, and I said, "Man, I've always wanted to draw a teen book." I didn't know what I was getting myself into. It's hard when you have to draw 10 characters, and they all need to have their own expression and,
Yeah.
their own manners. And, you got to try to work it all in. And then if they're in the scene, they can't just be in the background, just standing there,
No.
'cause no one just does that in real life. There's always,
Exactly.
someone's always doing something. So, when that's one of the things that I do pride myself in a certain degree, is that I want every aspect of every panel that I work on to actually be telling a story, whether that's the
Yeah.
main figures or whether that's figures in the background. They've got to be doing something. So then I did that project, and that was 10 issues, and we have 2. I'm just digging up something here real quick.
No,
So,
no worries.
There we go. So we finished the first 5 issues of the story. We finished up, and then we put those out as individual floppies. Now, when we put out the first issue of the Red 10, we did it all independently. We were putting those out, and we were doing them just approaching comic shops, our own micro distribution, and we were doing fine, and making some money. People were really getting into it, and they liked the fact that we were getting it directly into their hands. The comic shops were, but obviously Diamond caught wind of that, and they don't like to be cut out at that time. So we're talking about 2020. We're probably looking at 2012 or so, 2013.
Right.
And they came back with an offer. Hey, we want to do this for you. This. So we said, all right, fine. So we did a brand new remastered issue 1 for that book, and we started distributing through their through Diamond. So that was pretty cool, I guess. We got some good play on there. We went to New York Comic Con. We got a good write up on the story, which basically the elevator pitch on that is what would I do if I killed off the Justice League and DC Comics was crazy enough to let me. So it was kind of this whole thing where we were exploring the, heroes die in comics and they always come back. So we're like, we're going to have our heroes here and they're going to die and they're going to stay there. There's going to be a reason why they're being put to death. So it's like a big superhero murder mystery type thing.
Right.
So we finished the first 5 issues and we did a campaign. So this is the trade paperback for the first campaign. We collected the first 5 issues, and we did, I think it was 13,000 on this campaign on Kickstarter, which is really awesome. And then this book, the nice thing about having a trade of all your single issue floppies is that it's an easy sell, and you can sell them in perpetuity, basically. Especially when you own the rights, like I do to this. I can just keep printing these and keep selling them as long as I want. I own this. DC Comics can't tell me, oh, well, you can't do that. I don't know.
Exactly.
I love DC Comics or Marvel. They can't tell me. So then the second 5 issues took a little bit longer to finish. We got down to about issue 8, and the writer really wanted to close it well, and so it was a little bit difficult trying to kind of tie it up. But that was the biggest delay between issue 9 and issue 10, is how we were going to close the story out. So we ended up finally getting it all out and done. And then a few months ago, we ran, actually it was in November, we did the Kickstarter campaign for the second half of the book. And so this is
cool,
the second half. So book 1, book 2. And so this has all 10 issues in it. And it's got backstory and back matter and stuff like that in it. And, it was a great learning experience. And I really there's a lot of stuff that I like about what I did here, and a lot of things that I learned along the way. So got done with that, and didn't really know what I was gonna do. I said, well, maybe I'll see if I can collaborate with another person on their book or whatever. But I always wanted to do my own stuff, and I said, well, I actually have ideas. They're not the most common type of ideas; they're a little bit different. Maybe I can just put those out on my own, and so that's basically what I've been doing here, with putting out my first book, Chango. I collaborated with a writer friend of mine, and so that is actually going to be going to print at the end of this month, actually, and then we'll be sending all that stuff out. Hey, Zaid Comics is in the house. What's up, Zaid?
Nice.
How's it going? Zaid Comics has a awesome campaign that was actually funded really quickly. Their first book, which I have here, grab it. Bear with me. Bear with me. I know I have it here somewhere. Well, I know I have it here somewhere, doggone it. Anyway. Here it is. So right here. So this Zaid Comics, great guys over there. All right. Brandon and Phil. So this is
Magic Cup, yeah.
Okay. Great book, great story. And then their second campaign that they put out was the Lost Pages, and that thing that funded really quickly. So it looks like a great book, and I just want to say that there's a lot of great stuff being put out Comicsgate right now, you know. And if you're a fan of comics and people that really love to create good comics, you know, definitely check out what's going on there. There's a lot of big movement going on right now, so you know, if you like good stories, different stories, man, you know, definitely check out that campaign for Lost Pages.
I have a long
And
list of stuff I gotta check out.
well, can you let me, Zaid? You gotta let me get to it, but he's always like, "Hey, we got a Simon Bisley cover." Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, and they got a super cool Simon Bisley cover on that. I'm like so jealous. I don't know how the heck he worked that one out, but that's fantastic, you know. And that cover is just like super badass cover, man. It's really awesome. So, yeah, and you guys definitely gotta check that out. I mean, if you haven't, let me see if I can. I'm gonna put the link here in the chat. The Lost Pages.
That's one of the books I'm gonna look into as soon as I get my paycheck.
No, I hear you, man. Man, I wish I could support every single thing, man. Because there's so much good stuff out there, you know. But you know, you do the best that you can, obviously. I'm just gonna post so at least gals, whoever's on the show, definitely you're gonna want to check out Lost Pages. There's a link right there. So so what are you doing with this year? Is this something that you're gonna be self-publishing, or are you trying?
This is something I will self-publish. I have no idea how or where at the moment. For the longest time, I was just thinking, I'll just turn it into a webcomic, see what the responses are. You know, if people like this and people might want to see this in print, then I can do that. You know, this is my first comic ever. It's something I've always wanted to do. I just never got around to doing it. So I decided, you know, I think it was about a month and a half ago now, that I'm going to do it regardless. I have to see if I can actually tell a story visually, you know, make it a short story, just something to work off of, gauge the response, and if it's good, then yeah, why not? There's no reason not to do it. So, but I mean, I've gotten a lot of very positive feedback on it so far, so it's looking very good.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, there's who was it that I was watching a video with John De La Rose. He calls himself the what does he say? He says he's the most published Hispanic science fiction writer of all time, or something like that. But you know, he's got a YouTube channel, and what was he saying? Oh yeah, before I lose my my train of thought. Oh yeah, so you know, he was talking about how, you know, he actually publishes a monthly comic, and he does it through Amazon.
Right.
So and he, you know, and I think he was speaking on this in reference to what DC Comics did with basically saying bye-bye to Diamond. And he said, yeah, you know, right now it's kind of like the wild, wild west out there. I'm not really that affected right now. There's really not that much competition on Amazon for you know, individual publishers putting their work out. But I know once you know, Amazon figures out a way to get into rather DC Comics gets into Amazon, you know, I know that it's going to be, you know, a little harder to compete with that, because, you know, people are collectors, they're completists, you know, and you know, they want to get their you know, Aquaman comics and Superman comics and that sort of thing, you know, at the end of the day. So reason I say that is, you know, that's something that I'm also exploring. It's like, you know, do I want to check that out? You know, is it worthwhile? It might be, you know, it might be another viable, another viable outlet. I think that you should try to keep all your options open, especially in regard to work that you're putting out like that.
Yeah. There's another thing that might be worth exploring, and that is also, I mean, I've been noticing that a lot of these comic gate books as well, there are a lot of European backers. Like there is tons of European backers, and the European market. I mean, they love comic books over here. Especially one thing that's that's been around for I don't know 50, 60 years is graphic novels. Is more what it goes in over here. So you'll have these albums. They're bigger than the American floppies, right? The monthly floppies. Huge market, and they love getting stuff translated. So that's another thing to maybe look into is hey, can we get some of these books maybe translated into French or German or whatnot? I don't know. Maybe that's something to do.
Yeah, I mean that's always that's something that's intrigued me. I know that with this first campaign that I did on my own, we didn't really have that international option.
Yeah.
But I'm like, wow, you'd hate to cut out a market, but the international shipping is just kind of it's kind of scary. I've actually tried to ship stuff, commissions that I've done for people and overseas, and you send them out, you do everything you're supposed to do with the tracking and all of that.
Yeah.
And let me give a quick shout out to Chris Mayock, who just joined us here.
Oh, cool.
He says, "Hey guys," but I'm always fearful: is the stuff going to get there?
Right.
And then the cost of the shipping being what it is.
Yeah.
The book gets lost and say, "Hey, I never got it." You're gonna have to bust that out on your own. It's it's a little tough, but I'm thinking that when I put this campaign out, that the one I'm currently working on, that I think I will at least make that an option, and just letting them know that you're gonna get the book, but then you're gonna have to pay an additional, $25 to $30, for shipping. And that's a big ask, especially when you're getting a person that's like, oh hey, by the way, the book is $25 and you're gonna have to pay another $30.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna get the comic, So
and you have to add to the fact that they changed the import laws as well. Like for instance, here in Sweden, what they've done now is if you get a package from abroad or purchase something outside of Sweden or outside of the EU, what they'll do is they do like these control checks once in a while if they see a package coming in. And if they look at the contents and go, well, this is obviously, this is a comic book or this is a graphic novel, pricing could be like, let's say $30 for that or $25. And then you can go, oh, well, then we have to add on a little bit of a custom fee. So you have, let's say the base price of the book, $30, then you have to pay another $25 for the shipping or whatever. And then you might get that extra charge put onto your shipment when you're getting it in that you have to pay before they'll continue sending the package from customs. I did that. I bought the Green Lantern Rebirth. It was the trade paperback, and I had it sent, and then all of a sudden I get a message. Oh no, we have this order you have from Amazon, and it is so and so much, and we've added on a custom tax to it. I actually ended up paying more in custom tax than I did for the book plus the shipping.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, so it's we get the short end of the stick.
Yeah, that's no fun for sure.
So
yeah, so it's just stuff like that that concerns me. But I definitely do. want to open up that option. So I suppose I need to talk to some people that have done international shipping. I'm friends with Billy Tucci, so
Mm.
maybe I'll hit him up with some questions at some
Well,
point here.
because another option is, I mean, like I was saying earlier about getting out translated versions as well, is you could make a deal with a publisher in Europe that will translate your book and publish it with a corresponding title. So, if you were talking to a French publishing company, they would translate the book for you. They would put, the French title on there, all this stuff, and publish it. They would take a small cut, or they would take their cut of the price, but you're still owning the book. You still, get the cut you are owed, right? It's just a way of getting the book out there and reaching more audience.
Hmm.
It's just
No,
food for thought.
definitely. That's a great. That's not something that I realized how that works. So thanks for sharing that for sure. That's
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that the different publishing houses and stuff have their own sort of agreements and stuff like that you have to accept. But it would be sad not to explore it at least, and see what you can do.
right.
But I,
Oh, that's great. Well, right now we're at almost 6:30, so I got a couple things that I need to do. So
yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap up the show. But before we do that, I just want to let people know a couple things. First of all, definitely check out Zaid Comics, The Lost Pages. Make sure you sign up for. I want to give thanks to Tank. Give him a quick shout out for coming on and just kind of sharing some stuff about his upcoming project. Definitely go on that. And also want to give a quick shout out to Mark. Thanks for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for
How
having
can
me.
people get a hold of you if they wanted to, see some more of your work or check out updates on the projects that you're doing?
I haven't put up a page or anything for my project, but I'm on Instagram, Mark Gold Fine Art, same as in my name title here.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a Discord channel that we're using. It's a community of artists, maybe some writers in there and stuff like that. So if anyone's interested in that, send me a message on Instagram. Best way to get a hold of me.
Yeah, it's a great group with a good mix of pro, amateur, young, older, people just starting out in the industry, people that've been there for a while. So you definitely get to glean a lot off of that. So it's a nice Discord page.
It's a virtual bullpen, basically.
Yeah, no, it's really great. I've been really enjoying the interactions between all the different people on there. But so that's great. Thanks a lot, Mark. So my name is Cesar Feliciano, but I go by El Guapo on my YouTube channel. So I'm the owner of El Guapo Comics. I have projects that are coming out. Chango being the first one that's coming out under the El Guapo imprint. And then after that, it's going to be followed by the comic I'm currently working on. Working title is Gin and Tonic. That may still stick, but anyway.
It's a good name.
Yeah, I like it. Plus, it's my favorite drink. So yeah, definitely check me out on my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to El Guapo Comics on YouTube, please make sure to take care of that. Also, I'm on Twitter at Cesar Feliciano and Instagram at The Art of Cesar Feliciano, and also I have a Facebook page, The Art of Cesar Feliciano. So I'm constantly posting stuff. I'm constantly drawing my own characters, other people's characters. So I do interact with you. If you send me a message, by all means, go ahead and do that. And if you have any questions about anything, you can send it to me at elguapocomics@gmail.com. So that being said, I want to thank everyone that was on the show today once again, and I appreciate all the people that came in and checked in and talked to us a little bit and shared some comments. So it's always great and always cool. So just want to thank everyone again. And you guys have a enjoyable rest of the Sunday. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Take care. Okay. Well, I'll catch you later, Caesar.